Morning, everybody. Okay. So welcome, everybody. We'll just give a couple minutes for the rest of our friends to join, and then we'll get started. Some people are already saying good morning in the chat. Welcome. We have a group joining us from the office, from the A&O office. Hello to them. They can join from their classroom. That's awesome. 6 of you, welcome. All right, we'll get started right on time. Welcome to everybody to our second day of the Senior Immigrant Safety Expo. We're so thankful for funding from the New Horizons for Seniors program to put on this expo, and we will welcome our next speaker in just a minute. I'd like to start with land acknowledgement. We're coming from Winnipeg. We have participants from different places, but in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that Manitoba is the traditional land of the Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. And we're on Treaty 1 territory. So welcome, everybody. I'd like to introduce our speaker for this morning. This is Silvana Buccini, and she is a Consumer Services Officer for the Consumer Protection Office. She also has her master's in criminology and teaches policing at the University of Winnipeg. So we'd like to welcome Silvana, and just a reminder to all the participants, we cannot see you, we cannot hear you. If you want to ask a question, we'll answer them at the end, so you can use the Q&A function. So let's begin, and welcome, Silvana.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Thank you, Corina, for that introduction. My name is Silvana Buccini, and I am a Consumer Services Officer with the Consumer Protection Office. In case you couldn't tell, I'm very Italian, so I'm going to try my best to speak slowly, but I have a habit of talking really fast, and I blame my Italian heritage on that, so I apologize in advance. Today, we're going to speak about frauds and scams. And what we're going to do, or what I'd like to do, is to bring to your attention some of the more common frauds and scams that you may encounter, and then talk to you about what you should do, maybe some tips for things that you can look for and see, so that way you don't become a victim of a fraud or scam. Just a quick introduction about our office in case you're not familiar with us. Our office was established in 1970 to administer the Consumer Protection Act specifically. Our services are available to all Manitoba residents at no cost. We are a government department, therefore you pay taxes, and our services to you are free as a result of that, okay? Our legislation applies only in individual to business transactions. So if there's a problem with your business, if you own your own business, or if you work for a business and you're having difficulty at your business with another business that's providing you services, our legislation doesn't cover that. Our legislation only covers if you, for personal use, are having trouble with another business. For example, you hire a business to do renovations and you're not happy with the work, or they haven't completed the work, or if you purchase a vehicle for personal use, okay? That kind of transaction is something that our office can assist you with. or rather I should say those types of transactions. Okay, now even though our office was created to administer the Consumer Protection Act, since that time, the legislation that our office administers has grown. So we do administer a number of different pieces of legislation, and our services are offered in a number of different areas. So if you're not sure if a transaction would fall under the umbrella of the Consumer Protection Act or office, you can give us a call and we would be more than happy to assist you if we can, or direct you to where we think you may go with your question if we're not able to help you. Some common misconceptions about our office. So we are not like a court. I don't have the same authority as a judge does, as much as I would like to. Unfortunately, they don't give me that kind of authority, which is too bad. But so what we do is we mediate disputes between a business and a consumer. But if you're looking for compensation, or if you're looking for somebody to make a decision about who's right and who's wrong, that's something you would have to take to court, because that's not something that our office is going to be able to help with. Also, we're not a reporting agency, meaning we're not the same as the Better Business Bureau, where you can go online and you can look up complaints against a business. Our office, everything that comes into our office is confidential by law. So if you call our office and you ask if we've had any complaints against ABC company, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to give you that information. But if you call and you ask, where you might be able to find information on this company before you hire them, we can direct you to different places. Our office also doesn't monitor the marketplace. So we don't set standards for products. We don't monitor pricing. We don't do any of that. However, we monitor the problems within that marketplace to know what types of issues are concerning consumers at that time. And finally, the Consumer Protection Office is not a consumer advocate. Despite our name, we're a neutral third-party mediator. So we don't take sides, we don't advocate for the consumer or the business. We just try to come to a resolution between the consumer and the business that's going to be fair and reasonable for both parties. So what are we going to cover today? Well, we're going to talk about what is fraud. We're going to talk about different types of frauds. We're going to talk about phone fraud, some scams, as well as impersonation and identity fraud. Okay, so we're going to touch on all of those very briefly because there's a lot of information and I don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to do my best to give you a good overview so you have a better understanding of what to look for. So here we have a legal definition of what fraud is. So what I'm going to tell you is that very simply, fraud is when somebody takes your information without your authority and uses it for their own personal gain. Okay, so they're either taking your money or they're taking your identity and they're using it to make themselves money. Okay, and they're taking it from you without your authorization because they're either lying to you or they're stealing it from you or whatever the case may be. Okay. According to a recent survey that was done by the RCMP, only about 33% of Canadians felt that they were well educated on personal information and scam protection, meaning not very many Canadians feel that they're educated enough in the area of frauds and scams to be able to recognize one or to be able to know when they are being taken advantage of in that sense. So that's why our office provides these presentations at different settings so that we can help educate Manitoba consumers so that you feel better educated and more prepared, and you can be able to identify when there is somebody who's trying to pull a scam or pull a fraud, and then that way you don't become a victim of frauds and scams because you have more education. All right, so let's start with our first scam. And this is the false charity fraud. Now, this is when someone comes to your door or calls you on the phone and asks if you'd like to donate money to a charity, and they make up a charity name. Usually they would have some sort of association with a well-known charity. So for example, something related to cancer care is usually one that's very common, because most people realize and recognize cancer care as being a known charity, right? Everybody knows that you can donate money to cancer care. So they have cancer care in the title of their charity. And now it's not a real charity in that it doesn't actually exist. They don't actually have this charity name registered or the charity itself registered. But what they do is they tell you they're collecting money for this charity, so that way you give them money, but the money never goes to the charity, it goes in their pocket, okay? So what should you do when somebody calls you or comes to your door asking if you want to donate to a charity? Well, always ask for a tax receipt, because any donation, I believe it's over $10, will get you a tax receipt so that you can write it off for your income tax every year through the Canada Revenue Agency. Ask also if they are able and willing to send you more information on the charity before you donate any money. This allows you to go either on the computer or call somebody up or find out more information if they can mail you something, and then you can read about the charity. Now, if somebody is not willing to talk to you about the charity or give you more information, that should be a red flag to you that maybe this is not the charity that you thought it was. People who are there to collect money or collect donations for a legitimate charity are always willing and happy to talk about the charity, because it's something that they enjoy and they want to share that information with people. So that way you feel their passion and maybe you get involved on a different level. Always be aware of high pressure tactics to ask you to donate right away. So if you ask for more information, or if you ask if they can come back later after you've had an opportunity to find out more information about this charity, and they say things to you like, well, you know what, I'm only in the area for the next hour, so I can maybe come back at the end of the hour, but you know, this is a one-day kind of opportunity where we will match whatever donation you make. So if you make a $10 donation, we will make a $10 donation. So it's a $20 donation for the charity. So they try to push you into making that donation and not give you the opportunity to look it up. So how can you protect yourself against this? One, don't give in to the pressure. Let's not forget, this is your home. And if you are not comfortable with this person being there, or you're not comfortable with the pressure or the pushing that they're trying to put on you to get you to give them money, you can close the door and walk away, right? Your home, your money. You decide who stays at your home and you decide who you give your money to, okay? Try not to give cash, but also be careful when giving out a credit card number, because if you're going to give them a credit card number, then you want to make sure that they're not using that credit card number for unauthorized purchases. If they accept checks, try to make them payable in the full name of the charity. Now, I say here that you should check with CRA, and the reason for that is because all charities have to be registered with Canada Revenue Agency. If the charity is not registered with Canada Revenue Agency, they are not a legitimate charity. If you call Canada Revenue Agency, they have a phone number for their charity line. They will tell you if a charity is registered or if they are not registered. So that's one way that you can check to see if a charity is legitimate or not. Never give out your personal information. And you're going to hear me say this a lot throughout the presentation. Never give out your personal information. You're going to be sick of me saying it, but it's going to stick with you, I promise. Okay. Again, ask for a tax receipt. If they are not willing or able to provide you with a tax receipt, I might think twice about giving your money away. Also, check for identification. If someone is coming to your home to ask you for a donation, there is a requirement that they have an identification card on them with their photo and where they're from, etc. okay? Real charities are always ready to answer your questions. They have nothing to hide and they like talking about the charity that they're involved with. Next, we have a pyramid scheme. Pyramid schemes are interesting. There is a difference between a multi-level marketing company and a pyramid scheme. They look the same when you look at them from afar, but the big difference is in what are they selling. So for example, if you have a company that is selling candles, such as Party Light, for example, or you have a company that's selling Tupperware containers, right? The company's name is Tupperware. Those are real products that you can see and you can touch. And when you pay money, you get the actual product. That is a multi-level marketing company. That is a real company. That is something you can be involved in. People who sell those products for those companies make a commission on the number of product they sell. Pyramid schemes are different. They don't have a product that you can feel or touch or see. For example, they might sell a membership to get discounts from Fortune 500 companies. What does that even mean, right? You can't see the product, therefore, that's more of a pyramid scheme. And the people who are selling for that company make money based on how many people they recruit to sell for them. So they don't make a commission on selling the product. They make money on recruiting people. You want to stay away from those companies. They are illegal in Canada, and you will end up getting yourself involved in a company that you don't really want to be involved in. You're not going to be making the money that they promise that you're going to be making. And it's a lot harder then for you to be able to make money, because now you're looking to try to get your friends involved and your family, right? The people that you know, and you don't want to put them in those types of situations. Now, what should you do? Be very careful when somebody offers you an opportunity, okay? You need to look into this opportunity. You should talk to your family. You should talk to friends, people you know, maybe calling a government department like the Consumer Protection Office and asking for some information or getting some advice, right? Even from the bank where you do your banking, they might be able to offer you some advice and some information on this business opportunity that you might be getting offered. In order to get your money back, you end up having to include a lot more people or bring in a lot more people in order to get your money back. So protect yourself, like I said, by looking into and making sure that this investment opportunity is legitimate, or it's actually real, or that it's not a pyramid scheme before you get involved. If they're not willing to give you the time to look into this and be comfortable with it, then this is not an opportunity you want to be involved in, because they will try to push you into it and will try to put a lot of pressure on you because they want to make the sale. So what you need to do is, I need some time, let me look into this, I'll let you know if I'm interested. Next, we have our letter frauds. This is known as an inheritance letter scam, where you get a letter from somebody in another country saying, I have all of this money in a trust account in this country. I need somebody to help me get this out. And then once you do that, I'll split the money with you. Well, news, there is no money, right? There is no trust account. What happens is, if you respond, they ask you to send them money for certain bank fees or shipping or whatever it might be. You send them money and you never get anything in return. Okay. Sometimes they offer you an urgent business proposal where it's, you got to do this by this day, be involved, send me this money, and I promise to get you all of these millions of dollars, right? Don't you wish that that was the case? But these are letters that you should not respond to. Okay? They arrive, my dad used to get them at his office and they would arrive by fax. They arrive by mail. You won't get a phone call regarding a scam like this. It will usually come in the form, like in a written format. So you'll get it either by fax, sometimes by email, but usually by letter, okay, in the mail. So don't respond. If you did respond and if you sent money, then my recommendation or our recommendation would be that you contact the local police, make a police report with all of the information you have, and contact the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. They will take your report and they will look into it. And I've included their number here. I will provide a copy of the presentation if you don't get the phone number down in time. I'll provide a copy of the presentation to Karina, and maybe it can get posted somewhere. So the information will be there if you need it, okay? Travel schemes and frauds. Now, with COVID, not too many people are traveling as much. However, what the travel schemes and frauds used to look like and what they will look like when they come back is a phone call or a letter, but they are more commonly phone calls. Okay, they'll let you know that you've won a free trip or a low cost vacation. So what that's going to look like is they're going to offer you, a 5-day or a 7-day cruise, and that, you've won this for free, or all you have to pay is the taxes. And then when you agree to it and you get all of the information, you realize that the only part of your trip that's covered by this company is the flight from Winnipeg to Florida. If you want to go on a cruise when you get to Florida, you have to pay for the cruise yourself. That's coming out of your pocket. Okay. You might have to pay for the car rental. You might have to pay for your own hotel, but they will cover only a very small part of that travel for you. What should you do if you get these types of phone calls? Do not give your credit card details over the phone. If someone is calling you to sell you something, do not give your credit card number over the phone unless you've had the opportunity to look at all of the information, you decide that it's safe, and then you call the company back and be comfortable giving your credit card number over the phone. You shouldn't do it on the spur of the moment because you don't know what you're getting for that cost. Always read the fine print. I have glasses, very bad vision. I have trouble reading that fine print, but I grab my magnifying glass and I look very closely at the fine print. That's where you will find all of the detailed information that you need. And it's a lot, and I hate doing it, but always read the terms and conditions of anything that's being offered to you like this. That is where you will find out exactly what this offer is, what they're paying for, and what you are responsible to pay for. Also be careful when you're filling out a contest ballot. Sometimes you go to a store and they say, oh, we're running a contest. You could win a $500 gift card to our store. Would you like to enter? So you fill in the information, you put it in the little box, and you go away. What you don't know is that sometimes on those ballots in the fine print, it says that they will sell your information to these third-party marketing companies that will then call you to see if you want future things like a travel offer, etc. So these types of companies share information with each other, and they call them sucker lists. I don't much care for the name, but that's what is used in the industry. What they do is, if you have given them your information, or if you have given them money, they will take your information, your name, your phone number, your address, and they sell it to other companies. So then you start getting all of these phone calls from all of these other companies trying to sell you different things, more travel. Maybe you're 2 numbers away from winning the Australian Lotto 645. Send us more money and we'll enter you again, and you might win this time. And they try to entice you, and they try to get you excited about these opportunities so that you send them money. Okay. Spoiler alert, You don't win the free boat trip or the boat itself. All you win when you give your information or you give money to these types of companies is regular phone calls or regular letters selling you something else. I had a consumer, she was sending money to the Australian Lotto 645. And because she was sending the money on a regular basis, they were selling her information to other companies like that. She was getting 30 letters every day from different scam companies asking her to send them money for one thing or for another. Membership here, a cult there, you could win here. Okay, 30 letters every day she was getting because she had given money to this Australian Lotto 645. And now we have our phone frauds. So this is similar to the travel frauds where they say, oh, you've won. The other one where you get a lot on the telephone is when they call you and ask if you want to lower the interest rate on your credit card. Just press 1 to talk to someone and we will lower your interest rate. No, they won't. They will take your credit card information and they will use it for their own personal gain. And then you will end up having to close down your credit card number or credit card. You'll end up having to get a new credit card and it becomes a whole hassle for you because now they've put things on your credit card that you didn't purchase. And now you have to go through all of this to get a new credit card. So what should you do? Our recommendation is not to buy anything from a company that you're not familiar with, okay? If they call you over the phone trying to sell you something, ask for everything in writing. Ask them to send you a bulletin or a brochure or an email or where can I find more information about your company? And look into that company first, okay? Contact the Consumer Protection Office. See if they have a license in our office to call you and sell you things over the phone or at your door, because we license companies like that. So if they're going to do that kind of business in Manitoba, generally they need a license from our office. So we can tell you if that company has a license. So I would suggest giving us a call. Get the name of the person who's called you or the person who's come to your door. So the salesperson's name, get a telephone number and get the name of the business or the business license number. Because if they have a license with our office, they will have a license number and they will be able to provide you with that information. This will let you know if the business is legitimate or if they are a fraud. Also, be very careful of salespeople who say things like, you can't afford to miss this high profit, no risk offer. High profit and no risk do not go well together, okay? You're not going to find opportunities that are high profit and zero risk. It's just not how it works in the marketplace, right? If they try to talk you out of getting something in writing from them, if you ask for written material or you ask where you can find more information and they try to talk you out of it and say, you don't need that, you can just trust me. I wouldn't lead you in the wrong direction. I promise we're good. We know what we're doing. You can trust me. No, you can't. Okay. Also, if they try to tell you it's a limited time offer, that they're only going to offer this to you for the next 2 hours or the next 24 hours, they're trying to pressure you into the sale because they don't want you to miss out on the sale, or they don't want you to realize that they're not selling what they say they are. So any of these lines, or if you hear a salesperson on the phone say anything like this, then your best option is to say no thank you and hang up the phone. Scams. So who can be scammed? A lot of people think it can't happen to them. So when they, become the victim of a scam, which can happen sometimes, they're too embarrassed to tell anybody. And then they're not able to take any steps or any action to get some assistance or some help with maybe getting their money back or making sure that nobody else becomes a victim, right? But you have to remember that individuals, people who run these scams, they're very likable people. They come across as being friendly. They come across as being trustworthy because they have to, right? You don't know them, so they have to get you to like them very quickly so that you can trust them and that they can take your money from you, okay? So there's a number of different phone scams that are taking place right now, or have been over the last little while. The Microsoft phone call, which is you will get a phone call from someone who says they work for Microsoft computers. And they will tell you that there is a virus on your computer. They detected over at Microsoft that there's a virus on your computer. And they want you to give them access to your computer so they can go onto your computer and fix the virus. Well, what they do is they look for your personal information that you might keep on your computer and then use that information to take money from you at a later date. So whether it's your credit card number or sometimes your banking information, if you have anything like that saved on your computer, that is what they're looking for. Or they will call you, say they're from Microsoft, and then they try to sell you software, right? That will help fix the virus on your computer. And it's $62 or something like that, where they say, you know, it's only $62. We'll send you a CD, you put it into your computer and it'll fix the virus for you. You pay the $62. They send you a CD or a DVD of some sort that you can put into your computer. But then what they do is they keep charging you $62 every month on your credit card bill. Okay, so be careful. Microsoft doesn't have the ability to know when your computer has a virus. That's not something they monitor over at Microsoft. That's private personal information because it's your computer. So they wouldn't know that you have a virus there. Getting a phone call from a bank security department. You'll get a call and it says, we're calling from bank security department. We detected that there's been some unauthorized activity in your account. So what they want you to do is press 1 to talk to someone, and then they try to get you to give them your bank information to verify if this is you and to verify if these charges were yours. Meanwhile, what they're doing is getting your bank information and then going into your bank account and taking your money out of your bank account. Okay, they never tell you what bank they're calling from. They don't tell you what credit card it is that was maybe used to make these purchases for these big amounts of money. They just give you very general information and hope that the scare of somebody possibly using your credit card is enough to get you to give them your information. And then we have the call from Canada Revenue Agency. This is always a very scary call. I never like the call from Canada Revenue Agency. Okay, nobody does. So this is individuals who call you and say they're calling from Canada Revenue Agency and they are that you owe $1,500. And if you don't pay right now, they're sending a sheriff to your home tomorrow. And the sheriff is going to take things in your home that are going to be worth enough money to make up $1,500. So they're going to take your television, they're going to take your computer, your iPad, tablet, anything that's going to be worth $1,500 to make up that money. Canada Revenue Agency doesn't do that. They don't send sheriffs to your home to take your money or to take things from your home to pay them. That's not how they operate, okay? Also, what they do is they will ask you, if you're going to pay, they will ask you to pay by gift card. So they will stay on the phone with you and they will send you to the store and make you buy $1,500 worth of gift cards for iTunes or gift cards for Amazon, and they want you to buy all of these gift cards worth $1,500 and then mail them out to somebody, right? Send them out to someone, and then they'll say that you've been paid. Canada Revenue Agency does not want to be paid by gift card. They also don't want to be paid by Bitcoin. The reason they ask for payment by gift card or Bitcoin is because they can't trace that. You can't trace the gift cards, you can't trace the Bitcoin in that way because Bitcoin is a currency that you use online. So it's not real, well, it's real money, but it's not money that you keep in your wallet, okay? So that's why they ask for payment through those two means, is because then they can't trace it. So what should you do if you get any of these phone calls? Hang up the phone, and if you can, block the number. They call from a bunch of different phone numbers. So if you don't recognize the number, you don't necessarily have to answer. But the best advice I can give you is don't give them any money and don't give them access to your computer. Okay. That way they cannot access your information and you don't lose any money. If you have been the victim of one of these types of scams, what you should do is get all of the information from the scam that you have, call the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center, and they will take all that information for you. Next, we have what we call the son-grandson scam. This is where people call and say, it targets senior citizens, and they call you on the phone and they say, "Hi, Grandma, it's me." And then Grandma, on the other hand, will say, "Silvana, is that you?" "Yes, Grandma, it's me, Silvana." Now they have a name because you said, "Hi, Grandma, it's me." And then Grandma's reaction is, "Silvana, is that you?" "Yep, that's me. I'm Silvana. I'm going to pretend to be Silvana now." And what they do is they tell you that they are traveling and that they've been arrested, but they don't want their parents to know that they got arrested. So they're calling Grandma to ask Grandma to send the money for bail to get them out of jail. And then they ask Grandma to send the money by Western Union. And because if you send money by Western Union, you can't trace it. And they tell you the money is going to a lawyer because you're not sending money to your granddaughter or your grandson or any of your family members because they're in jail. So they want you to send money to a lawyer, and you won't recognize the name of the person that you're sending the money to. So they ask you to do that for them, and then they can't trace the money, and then you're out this money. Right? They ask you, don't tell mom or dad that this happened to me. I don't want to upset them. I don't want to worry them. Okay. So that's where they kind of get that information from. I got 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay. Just quickly, what you shouldn't do, don't send money. Always call your family to make sure that the person who said they called you is actually traveling or out of the country. So give them a call, find out where they are first. Okay. Last one, I promise, phishing scams. These are where you get emails and they look like they're coming from the bank or they look like they're coming from Canada Revenue Agency. And what they ask is that they give you a link and they say, click on the link to verify your information. And then they ask you to put in all of your personal information, your SIN number, your name, your birth date, your banking information, and they ask you to put all of that in. And what they do is they use that information to then steal your identity and to, steal your money from you. Okay. So banks, Canada Revenue Agency, they will never send you emails asking you to put in your information. So don't do that. Delete the emails and don't enter any of that information in there for them. Everything after this is basically just tips and tricks to help you understand or be able to see when someone is trying to pull a scam or a fraud on you. And these are going to help you to make sure to keep yourself safe, okay? Either on the internet or in person. Identity theft, fraud, scams. This is how you'll keep yourself safe. And these are some tips for you to look over, okay? I've also included some important telephone numbers. Equifax and TransUnion are credit bureaus. They're credit agencies, and you will get your credit report from them. So that's who you would call to make sure that nobody's stolen your identity. Then there's a Canadian Anti-Fraud Center and the Competition Bureau. So these will be provided to you at a later date. And that's it, I promise.
Thank you, Silvana. And as Silvana said, she's offering to make the presentation available after. So she'll email it to me and we'll send it out to you. So that's really
Absolutely.
great. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Silvana will take some of your questions. And I did see one, Silvana, in the chat. I'll just read it here. From Clarita, is the cryptocurrency investment offers safe or is it a pyramid scheme?
I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about the cryptocurrency investment. offer. So what I would strongly suggest is to speak to someone at your bank that you bank with, or if you have somebody that's a financial advisor or somebody that helps you with your investments, those are the people that I would speak to about that, because they would have a lot more information on that particular offer than our office would. So because I don't know too much about it, I would hesitate to say whether it's safe or not, but that's who I would talk to find out if it is safe or not.
Great, and there's a question in the Q&A feature.
If someone receives some financial loss in a fraud or scam, can the government or its appointed agency do something to retrieve the loss or compensating it? So what I would suggest is if you have lost money, to call the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center, and they will take all of your information. They will try to help you get your money back, but they cannot promise to help you get your money back. If the money was taken using your credit card, then you have 120 days usually to call your credit card company and ask for a chargeback based on fraud. And they will conduct an investigation at the credit card company and try to get you your money back based on that. How can we block a telephone number? On your cell phone, sometimes you have an option to go and block a certain number on your phone. Otherwise, if it's a home line, landline, you should call the company that you have the phone with. You know, Bell, MTS, Shaw, whoever you have a home phone with, they can sometimes block numbers from your home phone on their end at that point. But if you have a cell phone, it's a lot easier to do on the cell phone. Any other questions? Okay.
If there are no other questions, so Silvana, maybe you could cover some of the tips that, I see one came up here. If such fraud people are traced, is there any punishment for them by the government agency?
That would be the federal government. That would be the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. And the answer to that would be yes. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Center is an arm of the RCMP. So they are able to do investigations like police officers would do. And if they're able to catch these people, if they're in Canada, because a lot of these frauds are from out of the country. So if they're in Canada, they would be able to go and arrest them because it is illegal to run that type of fraud or scam.
Are there any other questions from the group?
Doesn't look like it. Do I have a couple minutes? I can try to do the in-person identity fraud quickly.
Yeah, why don't you, yep, sure. Why don't you do that and then we'll wrap it up. Thanks.
Sure, no problem. So identity fraud is when someone steals your personal information. Now, how does this happen? Well, it can happen in a few different ways. One, they can steal your information when you're, for example, at a bank machine, or you are paying for your groceries. Sometimes at the grocery store, they can put things in the machine to make it copy all of your information. Now, that's not to say that you should never use your card, because you should. You know, you are covered by the bank if your money is stolen in that way. What I can suggest is never write your PIN number down and leave it in your wallet or in your purse or anywhere where somebody else can access it if you lose it. Okay, that's going to be problematic for you. And sometimes you get these letters in the mail from, you know, the bank or Capital One or whoever it might be, and say, hey, you've pre-qualified for a credit card and we've pre-qualified you for this limit. Well, scammers will look through garbages to try to find those types of letters, and then they will try to take your information from there, and then they will try to steal your identity. Also, if you lose your wallet or it's stolen, or any of your identification in your wallet, right? Any of that's taken, that's where they can use that to steal your information. Now, never keep your passport or your social insurance number or any of those important documents aside from your driver's license, because you usually need that. Don't keep those extras or your birth certificate in your wallet. Those should be at home, put away somewhere safe. Okay, because they can take that, they can use that information to steal your identity, take out credit in your name, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And what they do with this information is they use it to try to make money for themselves. And it's committed in a lot of places, like I said, that are associated with daily life: grocery store, bank machine, etc. Now, try to keep your receipts and make sure that the receipts that you have, I guess, compare properly to your bank statement for your account and your credit card every month to make sure that there's nothing on there that you don't remember. Because sometimes, and I do it too, I look at my bank statement and go, well, I don't remember spending this money here. Did I actually do it? Don't throw away your receipts so that you can compare the transactions, okay? And you may want to consider not giving your credit card number over the phone unless you call the company and they are somebody that you know you can trust and use. Also, check your bank account monthly. If you're anything like me, you check it every 3 days because my husband likes to spend money. But definitely check it every month to make sure that everything that's on there is supposed to be on there.
There's just one last question in the chat here. In what office can I report a letter for donation that received many times? I don't know how they got my address.
Now, if you haven't given them any money, then the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre will not take that complaint from you. You can, if you'd like, send the information to our office. And what we can do is we would keep it as a record in our office of this is a scam that consumers are seeing, and then we can add that as part of the information. But unfortunately, there's nobody that you would be able to report that to that would stop these letters from coming to your home.
So I think that's all we have time for. And thank you so much, Silvana, for sharing this presentation after we're finished today. That's really great. As some of you may know from yesterday, we are giving 3 prizes away to participants for every session. So today's prize winners are Lan Wen, Clarita, and Wan Lee. So you will get a gift card in the mail and probably an email from Lorena letting you know what to expect. So congratulations. And I also want to promote our second session for today. It's at 1 o'clock. And it is Elder Abuse Awareness, and it's by one of A&O's social workers, Lori Pickrell. So we hope to see you all there. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.